So, the PS2 was peak gaming. No one knew that Sony would not just outsell the PS1, but make a massive statement that gaming was here to stay. Unveiled in 1999, it took the world by storm and was priced at $299, which was unheard of at the time. Back then, before Netflix, Hulu, and all those other streaming services that are overpriced, DVDs were all the rage. The average price of a DVD player back then was about $443.39. The PS2 was a justifiable purchase as it could be used for gaming and watching movies at a surprisingly affordable price. My mom got me one back in 2007 with about 3 games for the holiday season. After a rough day, video games were a nice place to escape for me. Obviously, I still game to this day, and I prefer old games to new games. So talking about the PS2 is something that I am passionate about. Before 2007, I mainly watched movies, so naturally I'm a movie buff as well. I first tested Need for Speed Underground. Man, hearing Get Low as I scroll through the menus is the most 2000s thing ever, and I'm here for it. From Grand Theft Auto San Andreas to LEGO Star Wars 1 and 2, the games are good. The Xbox and PS2 era are where it was at. There is a damn good reason why the PlayStation 2 is the best-selling console of all time.
Steve, he said a bad language word.
There are literally thousands of games. I can't even scratch the surface of the amount of games. The Xbox may have been the most powerful console during the time, and even has great games like Halo 1 and 2 and Forza Motorsport, but the PlayStation 2 had so much more. I grew bored of playing many AAA titles of 2018 to now, and missed the simplicity of the PlayStation 2. So, a few years ago, I window shopped Facebook Marketplace and eBay to find the perfect console. Because I couldn't make a decision, I bought 4.
I declare bankruptcy!
Then when the time came when I could play a game, I played and even streamed Spider-Man 2. Yes, that Spider-Man 2. Hey, 2005 called. They want their game back. When I told my coworker that I was going through the process of getting games for the PS2 and getting the PS2 itself, he basically told me that, and I had a good laugh.
Fake laugh, hiding real pain.
Let's face it, the PS2 hardware is old. The slim model that I use is probably like 20 years old. I hope that will last for a long time, but after watching so many videos talking about PCSX2 and how epic that software is, I finally downloaded it for myself. This felt like I was finally joining the 21st century. I got the free McBoot memory card, a disk drive, and spent my entire weekend dumping the PS2 BIOS and a bunch of games to my PC. This made for a fun weekend. There's an epic feeling of nostalgia when I fire up the PS2 and start playing any game. Seeing the towers rise and during the startup was a cool way to show off progress. This was a nice touch. I missed this era. I was stoked when I got a decently priced 256 megabyte memory card. Because I downloaded PCSX2 though, that data will live on that card until I find a way to copy it to my computer. However, I am a fan of starting a new journey. I wish gaming today was more like back then. Just the game. No loot boxes, no microtransactions or pay to win, just the game. Here's a wild fact. Sony stopped making PS2 games in 2013. Yes, you heard me correctly, 2013. That is the year I graduated high school. This means that the PS2 had a lifespan of 13 years. The PS3's lifespan was only 11 years, from 2006 to 2017. This is crazy. As I said earlier about the Xbox being a more powerful console, it only had a lifespan of 4 years. Now I get it, Microsoft put their eggs in the next-gen basket in 2005 for the Xbox 360, but the PS2 was everywhere, as it still is to this day. I hope that Sony takes notes from this era and does well with the PlayStation 6. Yes, keep the good graphics, but make a compelling story to go with those graphics. Risks. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S era aren't taking enough risks. Back then, games were good, bad, and in between, and this made lessons to be learned. Those bad games were stepping stones to make better games. There are so many games to count, it's hard to find. Think of Jon Favreau in Daredevil 2003. He took that risk. It didn't work. And then went on to direct Iron Man 4 years later for it to be released in 2008. And we all know how that went. The legacy of the PS2 is full of bumps, highs, lows, and everything in between. In conclusion, some of the greatest games were PS2 games, of which there were so many. I have a very small percentage of it. So many PS2s were sold around the world, and there are a lot of us last of the millennials that have got our start on this very console. Some later, and some from the very beginning. Gaming on this console still feels awesome, even to this day. I hope that the future of gaming takes risks again. It would be awesome to see something like this era again. One can only hope.